Have you ever read through your sewing pattern instructions, thought you understood them, only to find out an hour later that you did not understand the assignment? If you answered yes, there's usually a handful of reasons that contribute to this. I want to talk about one in particular today, which is the fact that sewing patterns actually often leave out some pretty key information that you need to be able to successfully complete your sewing projects. So you might be asking, okay, why would they leave out the information if it's important? Simply put, I've come to believe that it's because they're basically assuming that you already know how to do these things. And so now you might be asking, okay, what are these things that I need to know? If so, I'm glad that you asked, because I want to share 6 things that I've noticed that are often left out of sewing pattern instructions that you actually need to know in order to complete your project. So here we go. So the first thing I've noticed is often left out is what types of stitches to use and when. I've noticed that this is often done partially or completely, meaning they may mention to stay stitch this particular part, but they don't mention anything else in terms of how to construct your actual garment. Either way, this is important to know because not all stitches are created equally and not all stitches serve the same purpose. And if you don't know what to use when, this could have a negative impact on the way that you stitch your garments together. The second thing that I've noticed that is often left out is sort of an extension of the first, which is that if stitches are mentioned, you're often not going to get a detailed step-by-step sidebar or tutorial on how to do those stitches. Again, the designer is probably assuming that you know how to do these stitches, or that if you don't, you will stop, put a pin where you are, learn how to do it, come back and resume where you were in the sewing project. The third thing that I've noticed is often left out is what tools you'll need to complete your sewing projects. You can get really great tools at very basic prices and they work just fine, but you still need to know what tools you need and how to use them. Sewing patterns often don't tell you this. The fourth thing that I've noticed that is often left out is sewing machine settings. This might include things like tension settings or stitch length and width, or even the feet that you need that go with certain stitches. These are important because all of these things are going to directly impact your ability to properly stitch together your garment pieces, and that is going to affect the overall outcome of your garment. The fifth thing that I've noticed that is often left out is how to complete more advanced techniques, such as buttons, buttonholes, and zippers. They might tell you how to place the zipper or where to stitch it, but they're not going to tell you step by step or make recommendations for the best possible outcome with your zipper. Same thing with the buttons and buttonholes. They're going to give you guidance on where to place everything, but in terms of what settings to put your sewing machine on and different things like that, it's hit or miss, and there's a high probability that they're not going to get into that in detail. The sixth and last thing that I feel is often left out is where to get fabric or what brands would be best, particularly for beginners. I kind of get it because, again, it's assuming that you already know these things, and there may be some thing with the designers where they're like, I don't want to be blamed if things don't work out. I get it. But I do think that it would be really cool if these things were included, especially for beginners, because they may not know where to get their fabric from. I want you to have really great fabric, but I don't want you to spend an arm and a leg. And a lot of times you're probably not going to know where to go to get that type of fabric. So those are the 6 things that I've noticed are often left out of sewing pattern instructions, but that you need to know. So first things first, if you have any questions about any of these things or you're struggling with any of these things, I want you to check out all the resources that we have with the Wear What You Make sewing community. I'm going to include all of the information in the description section. I want you to check it out. If you have any questions about it, make sure you email me, DM me, or just leave your comments and questions below. The second thing that I want is for my more seasoned sewers. I want to know what you guys have noticed might be left out of sewing pattern instructions. because I'd love to have a conversation. Let's get this party started, man. Let's talk about these things, especially for our beginner, newbie, sewer, sistren, and brethren. So the third thing that I want you to know is that this is the fifth and final video of our sewing pattern decoded series. We're going to start a new series that is going to be called Sewing Machines Decoded, because I know that sewing machines can be really scary for beginners. And sometimes they can be intimidating for us more experienced folks when there are areas that we haven't learned yet. So I want to take that intimidation factor out of it for you guys. I want you to get on those sewing machines and start learning how to sew, number one, and two, learning how to sew garments that you love and that really represent who you are. So that's it. That's all I got for now. We're going to talk soon. Bye.
It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. Oh. Testing and 1, 2, and 3. I just want to know if this is working or not. Thank you.